You ever get labeled a public menace just for owning a moving truck? Because apparently, that's what happened to me the day we moved into Lakeside Meadows, a place that, on paper, should have been our peaceful, lakeside sanctuary, and instead turned into something closer to the world's weirdest reality show. You know what I mean? I thought, hey, $500,000 buys you some calm mornings and maybe a few lazy afternoons teaching your kid to fish. Not. Well, whatever the hell this is. It started out kind of hilarious, honestly. My 9-year-old, Tyler, bouncing in the back seat asking when he could jump in the lake. My wife Emma side-eyeing me with that classic, "This feels too good to be true. Logan, look," and me, trying to soak in the fact that, for once, I'd pulled off a grown-up win. A real cabin, actual lakefront, and the realtor, Karen, acting like I'd snagged the last golden ticket in town. But then Grace Perez walked out. Click, 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 on the blacktop like some kind of metronome of doom. Perfect hair, flawless makeup at 8 a.m., wielding a clipboard with the self-importance of a medieval knight, and a tape measure on her belt just in case she needed to fence off a few more dreams before lunch. "Excuse me," she started, already sounding like I'd just broken 5 unspoken laws. And that was the beginning. She introduced herself as Community Standards Enforcer, which is basically the grown-up version of hall monitor with a god complex, and started snapping photos of our moving truck like she was documenting a crime scene. "Emergency vehicle access violation," she declared. The street was empty. I swear, you could have landed a helicopter in front of my house, and the only emergency was my rising blood pressure. Before I'd even finished unloading my second box of books, she hit us with a lake access fee. $200. For the privilege of using the water sitting right in my backyard, the reason I bought the place. I tried to keep it together, but it's not easy when someone is smiling at you with the practiced condescension of a DMV supervisor. She even knew my name already, the sale price, probably what I had for breakfast. That wasn't a greeting, it was a warning. Play by my rules, or else. So I did what any halfway reasonable human would do. I checked the deed. Clean as a whistle, said lakefront property. No mention of special access or HOA restrictions, or, hell, needing to submit a DNA test to go fishing. But Grace, oh, she had her own map, official looking, stamped up, saying the entire lake was HOA managed property. I felt that creeping sense of doom, like maybe I'd just bought the world's most expensive backyard puddle. And that's when the real circus started. I figured, okay, paperwork mix-up. No big deal, right? Except applying for anything with this HOA made applying for a passport look like ordering pizza. I wanted to build a simple dock, a spot for Tyler to fish, me to sip coffee, nothing crazy. Grace's application packet came with more forms than a mortgage, and after a month, my first rejection, not enough environmental documentation. For a wooden platform. On a lake. Fine. I hired a consultant, $800, for a water test and a 47-page report basically saying, yeah, it's a dock, it's fine. Grace was unmoved. Application denied. Again. Now she wanted 75% of my neighbors to sign off. Let me back up a sec. By this point, talking to neighbors was like asking people about their political opinions at Thanksgiving. Some wouldn't even open their doors. Others whispered horror stories about violation letters and fines for things like non-conforming garden gnomes. I'm not kidding. Linda, next door, told me she'd spent 4 years and $1,500 trying to get a fence approved. Dave showed me a stack of denial letters thicker than my old high school yearbook, each with some new, creative reason he couldn't build his deck. And then I met Walter, retired professor, hidden local history nerd, and exactly the kind of guy you want on your side in a bureaucratic fistfight. He'd been quietly keeping tabs, and when I did the math on the $50 monthly lake maintenance fee, it came out to $240,000 over 10 years, with zero visible improvements. Not a single new plant, not a dollar spent. Just money, disappearing. And just when I thought Grace couldn't get more petty, my irrigation system mysteriously flooded the basement the day after I started asking questions. Irrigation accidents happen, she said, all innocent, while I shelled out $2,000 to dry out the basement. That's when Emma hit her breaking point. Watching her wipe down kitchen counters on repeat was the only sign I needed that this was spiraling. So I took the fight to the county. The clerk, sweet old Mrs. Thompson, remembered the Perez family, pulled out documents from the 60s with coffee stains and actual signatures, and every single deed included perpetual riparian rights. Meaning, you buy the house, you get the water. No HOA can take that away. Grace's dad had been forced to sell that land decades ago, and Grace? She knew. She'd been charging for access she had no right to control, turning a decade-long con into her own personal fiefdom. With Walter's help, I dug even deeper. Original letters, newspaper clippings, even a teenage Grace swearing to restore the family legacy and make sure the lake only belonged to the right people. What started as simple HOA bullying turned out to be a multi-generational revenge fantasy. I filed a public records request. The financials came back. Every maintenance fee went to the Perez Heritage Preservation Fund, which was just Grace's personal account, paying herself through fake shell companies. She'd run the HOA like her own private ATM. Meanwhile, she doubled down on making my life hell. Anonymous complaints, character assassination at my job, even a lawyered-up threat for unauthorized construction on a dock that didn't exist. Lost a $15,000 contract because of troublemaking, supposedly terrorizing the community. All while Tyler kept asking why we couldn't go fishing. That's when Emma left, took Tyler, bags packed. I can't watch you destroy our family over lake access. That hit me harder than any HOA fee ever could. So I begged, one more week. One last shot. Walter and I staged a strategic surrender, a public apology letter, admitting defeat, withdrawing my applications. It tasted like poison, but it worked. Grace basked in her victory, parading around, handing out more violation notices than ever, targeting other residents with a new level of glee. She even printed new business cards. Community Standards Enforcement Coordinator. Seriously. But with her guard down, she made mistakes, like sending me an email officially revoking my family's lake access permanently, signing her name, laying out her fraudulent intent in writing. Christmas came early. Emma came back with her own research. Turns out the realtor, Karen, had sold 15 other lakefront homes, every buyer running into the same scam. And then came the kicker. An anonymous tip in a manila envelope, original will from Grace's father with one line highlighted. Lake access rights can never be transferred to any association. Someone else knew the truth and wanted me to have it. Armed with that, we set a trap. I got a county permit for a new gate on my actual property. The installation was a spectacle. Half the neighborhood came out to watch. Grace went into meltdown mode, tried calling the cops again, but this time the officer just shrugged and pointed at my stack of documentation. And then I laid out the evidence in my yard, original deeds, photos, the whole messy truth, while neighbors finally confronted Grace en masse. Linda, Dave, Walter, everyone sharing their stories, tallying up thousands in lost fees, decades of intimidation, and suddenly, the crowd wasn't scared anymore. Grace was the one on the defensive, accusations flying, her excuses falling flat. Mike Torres, local reporter and surprise property rights attorney, covered it all, turned the story into a lawsuit for racketeering, fraud, and everything in between. The community rallied, legal defense fund ballooned, and the investigation revealed even more. Fake companies, vacation photos during supposed emergency repairs, money laundering through relatives. Grace's own lawyer bailed once the evidence piled up, leaving her with a public defender who looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Trial day? Packed courthouse. Blue ribbons for lake access. Evidence laid bare. $240,000 stolen. Historic rights trampled. 15 families testifying to years of harassment. Even the judge seemed shocked at Grace's brazenness. Verdict: guilty, all counts. 5 years in prison, restitution, banned from any HOA leadership for life. State law changed. Riparian rights can't be touched by any association, ever. Property values shot up, people finally free to enjoy their homes, and the Reed Rule became the standard. The most satisfying part? Tyler catching his first fish off our new dock, neighbors cheering, Emma hugging me by the water we'd fought so hard for. We didn't just win a property dispute, we rebuilt a community. But the final twist? Right as life settled down, I got a call. Detective found a storage unit belonging to Grace, full of maps, photos of my family, and plans for 47 other communities. At the top, a name, the architect. Apparently, Grace was just one piece of something much bigger. And as I watched Tyler teach the other kids to fish, I realized some fights never end, and sometimes taking on the bully is just the start. So here's my question. Where do you draw the line between defending your family and standing up for your neighbors? Ever had a battle where the real villain was hiding in plain sight? Drop your thoughts below, because I have a feeling this story's only just begun. And if you've ever taken on a bully and won, let the world know, because sometimes the little guy gets the last laugh. Now, tell me, what would you have done if you were in my shoes? Let's hear your stories.